Good morning, everybody. Mac here. Welcome back to the show. It is Bricktober. It is one of my favorite times of the year. It is the beginning of week 2, the close of week 1, however you count Sunday. But it is the second video of Bricktober, and we actually have some Halloween adjacent things to talk about today. So let's just jump into it, and the first thing we're going to be talking about is a crowdfunder that I recently became aware of. If you watch Robo Don't Know, you probably know what I'm going to be talking about, and that is the Jazz Inc.'s Dioramas 1/12 scale Batwing. Yes. So Jazz Inc. Dioramas is something that I was aware of on the peripheral. I was always seeing what they would do. I always thought they had some cool stuff, but they didn't have anything that I was like, oh, I would want that, or oh, I want to check this out. This 1/12 scale Batwing from Batman, the 1989 Tim Burton movie, is a crowdfunder, and there are various different tiers for it, and it is set to the 1/12 scale, the good Lord scale. So this is something that I'm kind of interested in, but I don't know if I'm going to back it, and we'll get into the whys of that in a few moments. But first, this is being funded through Jazz Inc.'s webpage. It is their own crowdfunder. They're not doing it through Indiegogo. They're not doing it through Kickstarter or anything like that. They're kind of doing like what Four Horsemen or Super 7 did, and they just have it set up on their website. As always, links to everything we're talking about in the show notes below. Currently, time of recording, it is sitting at 696 backers of the 3,000 needed for this to go into production. There are 4 tiers or 4 sets that you can get to back this at 4 different price points. And that is what we're going to talk about right now. That set 1 is just the 1/12 scale Batwing. It's just the vehicle itself. And it comes fully painted, comes with landing pods, that it says landing pods also for mounting vertically. So I'm guessing it's some kind of landing gear that pop into the bottom, and if you want to hang it on a wall mounted vertically, they'll help you do that too somehow. Has light up features inside and out, so it has lights on the outside of the Batwing. The cockpit also lights up, much like a lot of the classified HasLabs, like the Rattler and the Dragonfly. Moving flaps, optional front scissors. Remember when he caught the balloons and cut them? Removable Gatling guns, so they don't pop out. They're just pieces that pop on and pop off. So that's a separate accessory. A DC, no pun intended, DC power adapter to plug the piece into the wall. So it looks like it's not running on batteries. It just has a wall outlet so that it can just be always on if you would want that to happen. Now this bare bones set is $319 to back. Set 2 is set 1, plus it comes with an angled flight stand. And the angles of the flight stand are very drastic, very dramatic, and I like that because it gives you a chance to see the piece from all different angles. If you have it on the flight stand, also, if you want to set it on a shelf instead of hanging it on a wall, it will do a very drastic tilt, so it doesn't take up as much front and back space as it would if you were just landing it on the shelf. So remember, set 1, just for the ship, just for the Batwing, is $319. Set 2, that includes the flight stand, is $345. So that flight stand is roughly, what, 35? No, it was roughly $25, $26 for the flight stand, which unfortunately I think is about right for a flight stand, especially one that may be specialized like this one is. Now, set 3 is not everything plus this. Set 3 is set 1, no flight stand, and includes a sitting Batman pilot. I've seen photos of it. I haven't been able to find the photos to post here. If I can, I'll put one up here right now. But I've seen photos of the Batman figure, the 1/12 scale figure. It looks like it's non-articulated, to be completely honest, because they talk about on the webpage how it's designed to fit perfectly into the cockpit. His hands will hold on to the control yokes. He'll sit up in the proper position so that when you bring the targeting computer forward, it'll flip down in front of him. So It's basically a non-articulated plastic slug. Now, unfortunately, the other thing I haven't been able to find is if you have a 1/6 or a 1/12 scale Batman, like Mafex, like the old Mattel, like maybe the new Mattel, depending on what scale they're going to be making. It doesn't say if it will take another figure or if the cockpit is only designed specifically for this figure. If I find that, I'll put a cut in right here and let you know if I find that during editing. But as of right now, I don't think they actually say whether or not it will accept regular 1/12 scale figures. So set 3 is just the Batwing with the pilot, no stand, and that is $369. So it's $50 additional for the non-articulated slug. Now, having seen photos of it, the likeness, the face sculpt, everything, it's very well done. I don't know if it's worth $50, but it's very well done. And then there is set 4, that is everything. Batwing, flight stand, and figure for $395. We'll give you the whole kit and caboodle, the whole shebang, the full Monty, whatever other analogy you want to use. So, and on top of all of that, shipping to the United States, if you're watching in the United States, shipping in the United States is $55. And according to what they said on the crowdfund page, that $55 includes the tariffs. I wouldn't be surprised, because that does seem kind of low for shipping. I wouldn't be surprised if standard shipping is actually wrapped into the price of the crowdfund, and maybe that $55 is the tariff price. I don't know. I don't know, but that's what we have. So if you go for the whole kit and caboodle and shipping to the States, $395 plus $55, you're basically looking at $450 for everything. Now, the good news for some, is that there are payment plans available for it. And when I was looking at the crowdfunding page, they have payment plans that look like that'll stretch out to like 12 months. So depending on which one you get, you could be spending as little as $30-some a month for like the next 12 months until it's paid off. And I don't think there's any interest on it, because I think what happens is they're just collecting it directly. It's not going through any it's not going through any financer or anything, because you can't use PayPal on it. You can only use like your debit card or credit card. So it sounds like everything is going through them. So there's no interest rates on the payment plans. And at a year out, I don't think it would be ready to be shipped anyway. So it sounds like they're collecting the money themselves. The payment plan option doesn't seem like that bad of an idea. It doesn't seem like it would break the bank. And I do appreciate that a higher end piece like this, especially for DC fans, it's an option. Right now I'm up in the air as to whether or not I'm going to back it, because it does look awesome. And with Mattel coming out with the new DC line, who knows what they're going to be doing. The only thing that's like sort of putting me off, and I know it sounds ridiculous, because I would just put a Batman 89 figure in there anyway, is that I don't know if it will take a standard 1/12 scale figure. Because as much as I love that Batwing, and I would probably put an 89 Batman in there, my favorite Batman is my Mafex Nightfall Batman in the gray and blues. And I would love to like put him in that too, and just to see what he looks like. But that is what we have. Crowdfunders are back, baby. That is what we have for our crowdfunders for now. Next up, we have timed pre-orders, and we're going to be breaking the rules a little bit on what constitutes a timed pre-order, just because I didn't have anywhere else to put some of this stuff. But we're going to start off the timed pre-orders with, of course, Mondo, because not only does Mondo have Masters of the Universe 2000X, which we'll be talking about in a minute, but they also have released the newest from the real Ghostbusters. We have Ray and Mr. Gash. I vaguely remember this dude from the cartoon, but he looks just so freaky in the toy form with all those other little critters and things coming out of him. I don't remember this dude, and I don't know why. And I really like the real Ghostbusters. I watched that show all the time. except when it went to Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, because I wasn't real big on like the Slimer shorts that took place after it, but that's neither here nor there. This is the newest offering for the Mondo's Real Ghostbusters 1/12 scale line. This is the third one, right? I think the only one that we have left that we're waiting on is Winston, because we got Venkman, we got Egon, I think it was, and now we have Ray. So this is a timed pre-order. Pre-orders end the end of the month, the day before Halloween. They should have just had it end on Halloween Day. But the pre-orders will end on October 30th, and it is going for $202. And just like all of the other ones, once the timed pre-order on this expires, there will be a single version of Ray available for like $101. That'll be available at places like on Mondo and at Big Bad Toy Store. So check that out. If you are collecting the Real Ghostbusters, your newest one has arrived. And as far as the timed pre-orders for Masters of the Universe 2000X, we still have the special edition He-Man, and we have Clawful, both of them for Mondo timed pre-orders, Masters of the Universe 2000X. They are expiring in a couple of weeks, actually, because those pre-orders expire 10/17. It seems like they just started and they're getting ready to end already, but those are coming due as well, so check those out. All of these on Mondo's website, links in the show notes below. The next one we're going to talk about is not a timed pre-order so much as it is like a limited edition pre-order, and that is this, the Flint alternate art card that we talked about a few weeks ago. It had sold out. As a matter of fact, mine are shipping. They're on the way. So it had sold out, but pre-orders have opened again on Hasbro Pulse. I don't know what that says about something that there was only supposed to be 82 versions of. I'm guessing maybe they went through the set number of pre-orders, shipped them out, and realized, hey, we haven't shipped all 82 cards yet. That's kind of jive. Like, if you have a set amount of pre-orders, you make sure like those 82 go out with that first batch, because that kind of sucks. This whole plan of theirs is getting worse and worse the longer it goes on. At this point, like, I like the card art, but at this point, the ones that I have coming, I'm not even sure I really care if I get one now at this point, because it just seems like they're screwing this up. And I know I run hot and cold on how Hasbro handles their exclusives and things like that, but this one I legitimately think, guys, why didn't you just make it like a limited edition card art? First come, first serve, just sell it. Don't make it a chase item. I hate chase items, and I think a lot of other people hate chase items. Limited edition, limited run, I can handle that. I get that. I understand that. I'm fine with that. Chase items, they need to become extinct. Now, something that isn't a chase item, but is completely blind box. Once again, not really a timed pre-order. I just didn't know where else to put it. Valaverse is having a mystery box event, and it is going on right now. Time of recording, all of the mystery boxes are still available. There are 4 to pick from this time around. All of them are available at the Valaverse website. That first off, we have Mystery Box A. Each box contains multiple items such as figures, gear packs, and weapon packs. Mystery Box A includes at least 6 items, possible bonus item, random chance for a retired or not yet released item, $8 shipping fee per box. It is $69.99, $70, and it has over a $125 value in the box. Mystery Box B is everything in A except there's 10 items in it. Instead of 6, it has 10 items, $109.99, $110, over $220 value inside the box. Mystery Box C is exactly the same, everything that's in A, but it has 16 items in it, and it is going for $149.99, $150, with over $300 value inside the box. So basically, whatever is in the box it's roughly half off, maybe more. So that's cool. I've never done their mystery box events. They must be popular because they keep doing them. And I always mean to, but like by the time they're doing that, I have had so much money spent because all of Hasbro's pre-orders are hitting right now. There is one more mystery box, and that is the Vanguard Mystery Bundle. And if you have been on the fence about a Vanguard or have thought maybe about getting a second Vanguard, now is the time to jump on it, because the Vanguard Mystery Bundle includes one standard Vanguard with driver, one missile launcher add-on, one hull accessory set add-on. That's the one that turns it into the armored vehicle, has like the cow catcher, front bumper, all of that happy stuff. One swivel machine gun turret. The color is random. It could be tan, gray, tan muddy, gray muddy, or even still the very rare pink. They still have some pink Vanguards to give away. All items in the box will be color matched, so you don't need to worry about that. Once again, it has an $8 shipping fee. The standard bundle is $160 for everything that's going to be in this box set. The mystery box bundle is $99.99, $100, so that's $60 off. So like I said, if you've been flirting with the idea of getting a Vanguard or maybe getting a second Vanguard, this is the time to do it if you don't care about what color you get or if you want to try for a pink one. I have been kicking around the idea of getting a Vanguard, but truthfully, if I'm going to get one, I think I'm waiting for that black one that's going to be coming out that they talked about at their panel earlier this year. Boss Fight Studios continues to surprise me. I really love that they came out with that red Sonya figure. I wish the skin texture, the skin tone would have been a little darker, but other than that, I really liked that red Sonya figure, and I was curious to see what they were going to be coming out with next. I did not foresee this. Conan the Barbarian and Bellet, Queen of the Black Coast. This is awesome. I believe these are currently based off of their Titan Comics appearance, and let's start with Conan. I was going to say I don't even know where to start, but we're going to start with Conan the Barbarian. He has interchangeable helmet, interchangeable hair pieces, 2 head sculpts, armor, different weapons. If you take a look at one of those swords, that is like a not Atlantean sword, like almost the Atlantean sword, which I think is fantastic. I've been wanting an Atlantean sword at this scale. The one that comes with like my Super 7 Deluxe Conan is just way too big. That one looks awesome. That one looks like it's the right size. Got to admit, I'm very curious to see how that's going to look in the hands of like my Icon Collectibles Conan. But let's continue. The sculpt is pretty solid. I don't think it's going to be as like detailed or brutal or as like just muscular as like the Icon Collectibles or the Heroic Signatures that's going to be coming out, but it looks decent. Those head sculpts are fantastic as well. I am going to be very curious to see how this matches up to Icon Collectibles and Heroic Signatures. I definitely know I'm going to like it. I do know that. I've already pre-ordered both of these, by the way, so that shouldn't be any surprise. The ETA on this guy is October of 2026, so we have a year to wait. Price is $64.99, $65. Bellet the Black Queen, Bellet the Queen of the Black Coast is the one that is surprising me the most. I didn't think anybody remembered Bellet or would make a figure of Bellet. Luckily, she just had a whole story arc in Titan Comics, and that may be what like got it in Boss Fight's head to make this figure. For those of you that don't know, this is Conan's true love. A lot of people think it's Valeria, but it's not. Bellet here is Conan's true love, and she is fantastic. She comes with different clothing options that you can either display her in her pirate gear, which looks awesome, or you could display her in her Queen of the Black Coast gear, which is this, and once again, looks awesome. I do admit, though, I think I like the pirate look better. Those head sculpts on her are beautiful, like especially this one in the pirate one, the one that they're using on her pirate gear, where she has sort of like that cockeyed, that cocky smirk going on. So her, love that. Comes with multiple weapons. That cutlass looks awesome. Once again, ETA on that is October of 2026, and it has a $64.99 price tag on it as well. Links to everything in the description. I've pre-ordered both of them. Just remember, Entertainment Earth, free shipping on orders over, I think it's $75. So you pre-order these two together, free shipping. Links down below. They are an affiliate. ThreeZero must be doing gangbusters with their MDLX Transformers line, because they just keep churning out figure after figure after figure for that line. I collect the ThreeZero G.I. Joe figures, and they don't come out nearly as often as the Transformers do. That we've had 3 come out this past week, or 3 announced this past week, set up for pre-order. The first one we're going to take a look at is Thrust, the best of the cone heads. I always liked Thrust. I love those VTOL turbines that are built into his wings. I thought he looked really cool. It was a really unique look for him. Ramjet, and I forget who the other one was, but who the other Conehead was. But those other two, Ramjet, and I can't remember. But those other two, like with the Delta wings and everything, like, they were cool, but they looked a little too much alike. Thrust here, I think, is the coolest of them all. Like, he fits in with the other Seekers, definitely. Ramjet is actually the one that we're waiting on. I can't remember who the third one is, and it's driving me crazy. I'm kind of surprised that, and I didn't notice it when the other one was released, but I'm kind of surprised the Coneheads don't have, like, those raptor talon feet that the other Seekers had before this one. They have like standard feet like you would have seen on the vintage line. The articulation on these things are amazing. Like, these just look really cool. And his price is, where's it at? He is $130.99. A Big Bad Toy Store has a $13 non-refundable deposit, and ETA is Q1 of 2026. The other one we're going to be taking a look at is Cliff Jumper, the comic book edition. Now, this is the Skybound comics. He looks pretty cool. I really like that metallic cherry red that they used on him. And the fact that, like, his limbs are gray, dark gray, instead of like a light gray, and they didn't overdo it on the red, really makes those metallic reds just pop and stand out. He comes with 2 head sculpts, a standard head sculpt, and then one with like his battle mask on. Also, unfortunately, this version of Cliff Jumper doesn't come with that big bipod mounted cannon that he had in G1 days. So he just has like your regular laser pistol. His ETA is second quarter of 2026, and he is up for sale, or up for pre-order, for $76.49. Now, I don't really pay attention to the Energon universe, to be completely honest. And I'm vaguely aware of things that are happening in the Transformers Skybound title right now. But this, I was very aware of, because this is awesome. There was a cartoon a few years ago where Megatron transformed and Optimus fired Megatron, which was just awesome. But this, Optimus with Megatron's arm and fusion cannon. Oh, like, I'm not sure what series of events led to this happening, but this looks really cool. This is Optimus Prime comic book edition, once again, Skybound Comics, with the Megatron arm on. You can also just have the Megatron arm popped off so that you have a one-handed Optimus, like in this image right here. But let's be honest, if you get this, he has the fusion cannon. He's doing that. He's got the power. He's got the touch. Okay, so he's going to have that. He comes with the ion rifle as well, but like at that point, who cares? He has a big cannon on his arm. He is only $107.99, which I am surprised he's cheaper than Thrust. I think with the deal with Thrust is Thrust has more detailed sculpt, more moving parts. I'm guessing that's why there's such a price discrepancy between Optimus and Thrust. His ETA is also second quarter of 2026. Walmart Collector Con is coming up this week, and while everybody else is going to be talking about New York Comic Con, I figured I would talk about this a little bit because there's actually some really cool stuff that's coming out for this. The landing page is live right now. You can see previews of what's coming out. I'll probably end up doing a more detailed episode on this later in the week, but there were a couple of little teasers that I wanted to take a look at before that happens. It is going to be October 9th and October 10th, Thursday and Friday. And to start off, we're going to take a look at some Mattel offerings. That first and foremost, Mattel's 80th anniversary Barbie is going to be part of this, which 80 years of Mattel, can you believe that? There are other 80th anniversary items that are going to be put up for sale, put up for pre-order at Walmart Collector Con. I have a feeling a lot of this stuff is also going to be available on Mattel Creations. But, I mean, Mattel is the house that Barbie built, so I think it's really cool that they came out with a 80th anniversary Barbie to celebrate 80 years of Mattel. Now, moving on to Masters of the Universe. The other big staple of Mattel, we have some Masterverse Vintage Collection figures that the first one that we took a look at, or we're going to take a look at, and when I first saw the pictures, I was like, how is this any different from New Eternia, that we have a Vintage Collection Teela right here? And at first look, you're probably thinking that's just the New Eternia version, but it's not. If you look at this and you look at the New Eternia version, it is different sculpts. It is different tooling. It is different head sculpts. The accessories are different. This is actually a completely different figure from the New Eternia version. I kind of like the New Eternia version better, but if you wanted a more vintage accurate Staff of Ka with the twisting snake head instead of the straight snake, this is where you're going to get it. The armor, the snake hood armor looks roughly about the same. Don't think there's much difference there other than like maybe the sculpt itself and the coloring. Otherwise, it looks like it covers about the same amount. I'm very curious to see if they're going to use this Teela or if they're going to do the New Eternia Teela to do a Green Goddess version, because you know that's going to be coming. I'm betting it's going to be, this will end up being repainted into the Green Goddess. That's just my prediction for that. So that is going to be $21.97, and according to the landing page right now, it will be available 10/10, but keep an eye on that because those dates do change on occasion, that they might move it up to 10/9. The other vintage line figure that's coming out is kind of disappointing, Merman right here. Normally, I really like what Masterverse has been doing with Merman. This one is a little too vintage that if you do a close-up on that head sculpt, boy howdy, that's a choice. I get what they're doing with the eyes, with the fish eyes going off in two different directions, and that definitely is a vintage version of the, or a Masterverse version of the vintage head on the vintage figure, but I don't know, man. And then when you pull back, there's something about that head that it's not working on like that oversized buff vintage body, that male vintage body that they have going on. Also, the boot coloring just kind of blends in with the rest of the figure. I get what they're doing with this, but I think this one's going to be an easy pass for me, to be completely honest. That one also is $21.97, currently set up to go up for order on 10/10. But like I said, just double check that. Those dates could change. Final thing we're going to take a look at for Mattel. I do not collect WWE wrestling figures, but this, the WWE Elite Collection Wyatt 6 set of 3. 6-inch figures, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, and Nikki Cross, and their Wyatt 6 horror looks. These look awesome and could be used for so much more other than WWE wrestling. Like, I think I'm going to end up getting this 3-pack, or at least trying to get this 3-pack, because I have plans already for what to do with these 3. These look awesome. That is a $75 set, and that is going to be available on 10/9. So that will be available on Thursday, one of the first things going up. So if you want that, first day, check that out. Now jumping from Mattel to Hasbro, there's really only one thing I'm going to talk about for Hasbro, and that is my beloved G.I. Joe Classified, and that is the Ghost Viper and Dire Beast set. And Dire stands for Dread-Inducing Responsive Energy. That's the hologram technology, I guess, that Crystal Ball has created, that he's making this, like, Ghost Viper Legion, Ghost Viper Battalion, Platoon, Corps, whatever you want to call them. These guys look awesome. My God, these guys look awesome. You have a green translucent timber right there with different head sculpts that you can swap out. That, like, is the wolf even there? Or is it like a hologram projection? Or is it an illusion? Or is it an hallucination? Who knows? Then you have, like, a fully enclosed Viper helmet. You have a Viper helmet with, like, a skull on the inside. And then you have, like, a were-snake and a were-wolf translucent head that you can pop on the Viper figure. There's just so much potential for these. I'm probably going to get more than one of these because that just looks freaking awesome. I have plans for Crystal Ball and this whole, like, side project, side faction thing that he's going to have going on. So it is a figure and pet set. I'm not a fan of the weapons, though. That's the one thing that kind of brings me down. Like, I'm not a big fan of the weapons. He has Barbecue's fire extinguisher setup that I guess is supposed to be what they're using to, like, spray the hallucinogenic gas to make them flip their wig. But the other weapons are basically, like, old weapons from that first wave Cobra Trooper from, like, the Cobra Island days that kind of look like the Nerf guns, that oversized sniper rifle and, like, that energy rifle looking thing. I was never a big fan of those designs. Like, I'm not going to let that kill my interest in this. Oh, no. I'm definitely still getting this. Just not a big fan of the weapon accessories that comes with him. The Ghost Viper and Dire Wolf is $54.97, $55, available 10/9, so that will be available Thursday as well. I know what I'm doing Thursday morning. And now, closing out the show, we're going to talk about some more G.I. Joe Classified news. That, first off, the G.I. Joe Classified police officer that surprised everybody and went up for pre-order and then sold out, and then went back up for pre-order and then sold out again, is, time of recording, back up for pre-order. The pages are live, both on Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. Still don't think he's available on Amazon. Still not available on Hasbro Pulse. But pre-orders are active again. And I think we're getting close to when he should be shipping. Like, I think if he's not coming this month, he'll be coming next month. But I'm pretty sure at some point this month, he's supposed to ship and go out. Also, I had talked about before that in addition to Walmart Collector Con going up at the end of the week, on the 9th, we also have New York Comic Con. I normally don't talk about the Comic Cons because I would be talking about third-hand experience stuff. I'll be watching the videos of the people that are there the same way you are. So that's why I really don't talk about that stuff. But we have had some previews of what's going to be previewed at New York Comic Con as far as G.I. Joe Classified goes. And so we're going to take a look at those right now. And first up, we have Mole Rat Stage 2, which truthfully, I didn't know Mole Rat Stage 1 did so well that it warranted a Stage 2. My guess is this is either A, just a really easy repaint, repackaging, or B, these guys are going to be showing up in Skybound at some point because we're getting to that point where Transformers and G.I. Joe are going to be crossing over and becoming aware of each other. I have the first Mole Rat. I did a video on the first Mole Rat. I have two. I only opened one. Even as, like, a Cobra figure, it's okay. I wasn't really thrilled about it. The only real difference with this one from the first release is the suit is a different color and he has a more skull head with dark energon wrapped around it so that we can just get full on undead involved in G.I. Joe Classified. I might get one just to have one from the line eventually when it goes on sale, but right now for me this one's a good pass. The second one that we have to take a look at is Lifeline. And you know what? Over the years, I've talked a lot of smack on Lifeline, and I fully plan to follow through with that because it's Lifeline. Here we have Lifeline looking like he just stepped out of Star Trek the Motion Picture. Doc had to die so Lifeline could crawl. I'll get him, but he's not going to be like a big priority for me. I mean, he looks like the vintage figure. There's not much else to talk about with him. He has some interesting accessories like the breathing mask that you can pop on him, which I'm assuming can plug into one of his pack accessories right there. So, I mean, Lifeline. I know a lot of people like him and a lot of people have a thing for him as like a sort of a fan favorite, but for me, he never did anything. I would have found it more interesting because like the cartoon leaned into like the whole he's a pacifist thing, and I'm fine with that. I know there are conscientious objectors, but I would have found it more interesting that like if they would have leaned into, because in some versions, and I didn't have the vintage figure, so I don't know if this was on his vintage file card, but I think it was either like Devil's Due or Image. One of them, when they were writing Lifeline, were leaning into that he was also like a chaplain, a pastor of the team. That is actually a little bit more interesting to me, that idea that like he might have been like the Joe's father confessor or something like that, in addition to being a medic. So I'll be curious to see like what the write-up on him says when he comes out. Even though we don't get file cards anymore, the web page, whenever you order him, usually has something written up. So I'll be curious to see if they even mention that for him. Now, the third one that came out is the one that I'm actually legitimately excited about, and that's my man, my hero, my champion, Hit and Run. I love this figure in the vintage line. I don't even know why. I think it was because it was the head-to-toe camo, and none of the other Joes looked like that. Maybe it was because he had the grappling hook that came out of the duffel bag, and I could have him rappel down the side of my bed. Who knows? But Hit and Run is finally coming, and he's an infantry guy that like I've been waiting for. So now like with him, Grunt, and Footloose, oh, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be real awesome. The only one we need now is Repeater. Like, I really want to get Repeater. But Hit and Run right here looks really cool. I like the head-to-toe camo that they carried that through. Looks so much like the vintage figure. This is one that like I'm really glad they stuck to that vintage figure look, because like for Hit and Run, that's like kind of like a iconic classic look for that figure. A lot of times I like it when they update them, I really do. But on this occasion, I dig that he's pretty much, they didn't update his camo, which they could have easily done, and rightfully so, they probably should have, but I like that it has like this older camo pattern going on right here. It also looks like that you'd have the option of like stringing something through his duffel bag and hooking onto his grappling hook right there so he can still rappel down the side of my bed. That would be very cool. Thanks for making it to the end. I was genuinely excited about a lot of the stuff that we got to talk about in this episode. I'm glad you were here and enjoying this with me. The Conan figures that are coming out, like Bellet, Queen of the Black Coast, I never imagined we were going to get a figure of her. I think that's awesome. And if she scales up with Red Sonja, even if that Conan doesn't match up to the Icon Collectibles or Heroic Signatures, at least I know that version of Bellet will work with the Icon Collectibles Conan. Also, we are into Bricktober, and I have a lot of stuff that I've been sitting on, a lot of stuff that I've been waiting to take a look at. One of them is my man Crystal Ball right here. We talked about him earlier in the episode, and his Ghost Vipers. I really want to crack this open. We're probably going to be looking at this coming up in the next video on Tuesday. But also what we have to take a look at is these. My Sonic DC crossover figures showed up, and Amy here was the only one that came on a card back. The other one came in box set, which we'll take a look at. But check out this art. I really like this, how like we got Amy here and Diana in the background. I think that's really cool. I haven't had a lot of DC stuff to take a look at. Haven't had a lot of DC stuff I've been excited about lately, but I'm definitely excited about this. Hoping to take a look at that very soon as well. Might fit that into Bricktober because, I mean, after all, it's just Sonic and gang in costumes, right? It is Bricktober, the spooky season is upon us, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. Thank you everyone for making it to the end of the episode. If you stuck around this long, there must be something that you like, so if you could please leave a like on the video, and while you're down there, you can leave a comment and talk about what we discussed today, or subscribe if you haven't already. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you would like to help the channel out in other ways, you can become a channel member through my Ko-fi page or YouTube channel membership. Links to all of that and more in the show notes below. For $1 a month, you get access to Member Discord server, eventually members-only live streams, and members-exclusive videos. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.